You can make from 10K to 20K to 40K per property. If you have a jacuzzi, I would say it helps a lot. If you have a even better. So those things make a big difference in the occupancy rate and also in the price you can rent it for. I had some crazy stories, like I came once and I found no door. The main door of the apartment was gone.
Door.
Yeah. I came from another country. I came with nothing. I had absolutely no privilege.
Think about something, go through and
Absolutely.
do the thing well, and it works at the end.
Welcome to one more episode of The Feras Street, and here with us today our super special guest, Feras Toboli. Welcome, Feras.
Thank you for
Hi.
inviting me to the podcast, guys.
So Feras is a real estate business owner and investor in the real estate market, and today talking about subletting with us. So Feras, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you started with the business in subletting?
Sure, my name is Feras Toboli and I basically sublease properties in Malta in the rent-to-rent business model, and I also invest in real estate by buying, remodeling and then selling houses here in Malta and also other places in Europe.
What is exactly the subletting business for us?
So subletting is basically a very simple model of leasing properties from property owners who would like to rent them out and re-rent them again, sublease them either on short-term renters or long-term renters. In Malta, mainly we do short-term because that's where you make bigger profits, and also that's what's working well in this island.
So you have a property and you can rent to other people, a property that is basically not yours.
Exactly.
So what is the process of doing a subletting here?
The process starts by finding the right property in the right location, and also it has to be priced well.
And how do you choose a good location and a good property?
Good question. The good location in Malta is mainly the central location. It took some time to understand which locations do better than others, so it comes with experience. St. Julian, Sliema, Sida,
Yeah.
Valletta, 3 cities. Yeah.
And in the north as well.
In the north, yes, in the summertime is also great. A lot of people are making good money, but the problem with the north side of Malta is in the winter period when you rent in for mid-term
empty.
renters. Yeah, they tend to stay empty for longer. But in the winter time, in the center areas like Sliema, St. Julian's, you have a lot of demand still from students, people coming for mid-term
nice.
renters, 1 month, 2 months. Yeah,
Okay.
so it makes more sense for us. It's safer basically to choose those areas.
Okay. And when you find this good place at the good price in the good location, you just have to you sign the contract, and after you just looking for some people. There is specific contract or the same as we use in real estate.
That's a good question. I start first by having a conversation with the owner because that's a very important part. If you have a good property but the owner is difficult in the long term, because we rent properties for long term only,
Yeah.
so that's 5 years plus, and that could be a problem. So, but once that is done, we do the normal contract. In Malta, it's the housing authority contract.
Okay.
And we add clauses like, for example, we have the right to sublease the properties to third parties. We also have the right to apply for MTA permits, which is the licensing part.
MTA, it's to give you the right to sublet the place.
Yes, that's the Malta Tourism Authority, basically. So when you get a property, you make the application. You need to have the property plans, approved permits, and you apply along with the application from the MTA website, and that's it basically.
What kind of authorities do you need to have or authorizations you need to have to sublet besides this one?
You will need to have the Malta Tourism Authority
That's all.
only. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
but
us.
by yourself, you don't need a license or something that give you the right to do it and
You
apply
don't
to
need
the
it.
MTA.
That's a good question, but you don't need a license to do it. You just need the owner's approval. Some
Yeah.
owners choose to have the license on their name because when the time comes of cancellation, they might have difficulties canceling it. Then they will need my approval. And some owners just let us do the license on our name, and we apply on our own. You don't need to be a certain person to do that.
So you can both rent under your name or under a company's name to do the subletting. You can do both.
Exactly. So you sublease as a company. So I sublease properties as a company. It's the same thing as long as you have the right, obviously,
To do
to
it.
do a business in Malta. And then there is also the VAT, 18%
Yeah.
VAT on top of the rent if you're renting from a company. So if the owner is a company, then you have to keep in mind that you're paying 18% on top of the rent.
I would ask you about this related to owners, because as an agent, sometimes when we call the owners to rent the places, we ask if they accept subletting or no, and many of them don't. Why do
Yeah.
you think that they say no to subletting?
I think it's that, well, I know for sure it's a lack of experience with good tenants who are doing this business, like myself. That's the only problem because once they start knowing more about how we operate the property, I mean, they have a bad experience too, as
Yeah.
well. So not necessarily lack of experience, but lack of good experience, I would say. A
And
lot of people would.
they are losing a bit the control of the property. Like they give
Yes.
it to someone else. So
Yes, exactly. And most of the time, they would have given it to somebody else in the
mm.
past who just use it for the high season, we say, the summer period, then trash it and then just give it back and leave.
That's
Um,
why you like to do bigger contracts, like longer contracts.
yeah, exactly. We take the place for long term, we take care of it. And once the owners understand that this is a business and we do it professionally, they will understand that their interest is actually the same like our interest. If the property is in a great shape, then we are doing good in business. If it's not, we are losing, especially
Yeah.
now with the
Everyone is
competition.
losing. So.
Exactly. So once they find out, they would come in and say, "Hey, amazing, you invested a lot in the property. It looks great now," and they become my
More
references.
kind.
Basically, yes, they become more open to it, and I use those owners to convince the next owners or to use them as a reference. Yeah,
That's nice.
So once you rent a property, all the responsibility of the management it's with you.
that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we take care of all the management. If something is broken, we fix it on our own. We have our own team. I have my own guys. They do it.
Nice.
We do yearly paint jobs every single
Okay.
year on our own expense. We don't call the owners for light bulbs, water leakage, and stuff like that. So,
Until it's
actually,
not that expensive, you manage.
yes, obviously there are some repairs like extraordinary, or if you have
AC or something.
appliances like ACs and heaters, then the owners are paying for that. But we also provide the service of arranging it ourselves, so they don't have to even bother with it.
Okay, and you do it only on apartment, or you can do it, for example, like in wall block, in a restaurant, shop. I don't know.
I do not have experience in offices and commercial spaces for subleasing, but
Yeah.
for apartments, if it's a block of apartments, you can sublease them. Just make sure that they are licensed or they are built according to the MEPA permits. Because if they are not built according to MEPA approved permits, they will not license the property for you.
You have different sublettings, short let and long let.
Yes, we do have different types of renters. Mainly it's in the summer period, the short-term renters, the daily rentals. But in the winter time, in the central areas, we tend to get a lot of bookings for mid-term, which are 1, 2, 3 months bookings.
Long let, short let, only the season, or maybe the location and all can.
It's mainly the season
Okay.
because we mainly do properties in the central area, and that's the pattern that
Okay,
we
so
deal with
you-
on a yearly
You
basis.
focused on the central area of Malta for your business.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I don't have to struggle so much in the
Yeah.
winter because even in the central areas, you still have to manage them very well to be able to rent them.
So we can almost say that you are playing your year during 3 months. In 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
June, July, and August, you play your whole year.
Absolutely, absolutely. So basically, yeah, the 3 4 months of the summer period are the months where you make your profit, and the rest of the year, if you break even, you're doing good.
Okay. And can you give us maybe some little example of the profit you can make, the difference? For example, you can make in the same place, you take a place in the summer and in the winter, the different profit you can have.
Yes, that can be very subjective according to the
sure.
finishes of the property, the location as well. If you have a jacuzzi, I would say it helps a lot. If you have a swimming pool, even better. So those things make a big difference in the occupancy rate and also in the price you can rent it for.
As you spoke about profit, can you give us an example of, like, I don't know, an house or an apartment, the profit you can make daily to start? And after
Sure. So daily, anybody can check Airbnb and see the rates they're making, like couple of hundreds a day. We're talking about 3-bedroom apartments, houses. Some villas make even 1,000 plus, 800 a day.
Yeah.
So it depends on the property. Smaller units, maybe about 100 or a bit less. And if we are talking about yearly figures, just to make it simple, you can make from 10K to 20K to 40K per property. A villa, like a big villa with a swimming pool, luxurious one, can make tens of thousands a year. Apartments, 3 bedrooms, let's say center area, it can make, let's say 10 upwards. Some of them make 5, 7. It really depends on how you finish them and also your costs, how you manage your costs.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, I was using a lot of services that were too expensive. Cleaning companies that are too expensive and also inefficient, so you get bad reviews, and that also affects your income as well.
So yeah, the figures you say for yearly, if you find a good place, like you can make very good amount, and after it keep growing. More you make a year, more you invest the next year.
Exactly. I would say that it's definitely a business that you need to scale with, because if you have only one property, I don't know, making you between 5 to 10K a year, that would not be worth all the hassle. If you want to have it. Sorry?
Any trouble a year and you are fucked if you are only one. So
exactly. And if you have any trouble or extra expenses, or if you actually invest in the place before you get it, if you buy new furniture and finishes, then it might not be worth it.
You can take this profit during summer, during winter.
The profit is mainly made in the summertime. Yeah, definitely.
But the profit covers your whole year, right?
The profit covers your year if you don't lose money in the winter, because a lot of people are losing money in the winter too.
In winter, the goal is it's not to make money, it's to don't lose money more than to make it.
Yes, this is my policy, and also other people who are doing the same business would say similar things to what I'm saying now, which is in the winter time, if you cover your expenses, it's good.
And you have maybe in mind like a big deal you made, like you took a place for very cheap, a very good location, and you make maybe 50K in it in a year, or?
Well, there is some project now that we're working on. It's still not on the market yet. It's a villa with a swimming pool, and we are hoping to make a couple of tens of thousands on that deal.
Oh, nice.
And we have to be very creative in the winter time to make sure we're not losing, because obviously the deal is also costing us more on a monthly basis. The renters, we have the pool guy coming every week, gardener, and so on.
And during the winter, you don't think it can be a good idea to target more the people who are already living in Malta, than because during the summer it's all the people coming from abroad, but during the winter time when you have villa like this, it can be a good option to target the people who already live in Malta?
Yes, that's a good question, because in the winter time we can get people who do parties, events. Yeah, although we don't allow parties because of neighbors, but we can do more locally targeted
as this, because
audience.
Past winter, it's what we did. Like we are all living in Malta, and we said, okay, let's rent a villa for 15, and we went there for a week.
Exactly.
For a weekend.
And how was exactly your start for us in this business?
Okay, that's a good question. I started in the real estate industry because I was interested in something that it can provide me freedom. That was the main goal to achieve, and also something simple that I can understand. And with real estate, 1 + 1 is 2. Doesn't need so much intelligence or complicated calculations. And that's why I liked real estate. So I was very drawn towards it. And I started with no money, so the best would start as a service provider. So I started as an agent.
Okay.
And then after a few months, I borrowed some money to rent my first place, to sublease it. And that was like really terrifying. I don't know, it was like 2,000 euros or something like that. and I was worried to lose them, because that's all actually, I didn't even have that. That was borrowed. So it was hard at the beginning, but I checked the market. I saw what's going on. And I thought that
catch the opportunity.
I can make money, so I did it. So that's where I started from. And then now I'm moving into investing in properties. So I'm buying and fixing them and selling them again. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And you are doing it only in Malta, or you have place in other countries?
I have in other countries, mainly in Malta. I have in Czech Republic. I have some investment in Portugal as well with some partners. But my main business is focused 100% on Malta, you can say.
Okay, so you start from minus 2,000 and now you're your apartment and block and place in Portugal, Republic Czech. So well done.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And it's possible for everybody. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about capitalism or this opportunity that we have to. It's fair for everybody. I came from another country. I came with nothing. I had absolutely no privilege.
Yeah, just think about something, go through and
Absolutely.
do the thing well and it works at the
Is
end.
there anything else that inspired you to start it?
To be honest, it was just the freedom that money brings. So I was mainly very, very angry at life that I couldn't have the things I want. I was like looking for a way out, and that was my way through real estate.
We are all in real estate for the same thing. Money.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
Money and freedom.
Yeah, and it's nice that you started by being an agent, so you got some experience in the market here in Malta
Absolutely.
before.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, freedom and money.
Freedom.
And the property you are subletting, do you had any problem or something with tenant in it? Or not that much?
Yes, sometimes it happens. To
Yeah.
be honest, with the vacation renters, most people are taking care of the property more than even long-term tenants because they spend most of the time outside.
Yeah.
But I had some crazy stories, like I came once and I found no door. The main door of the apartment was
No
gone.
door.
Yeah. But thankfully, we have policies and also the platforms, the third-party platforms
Yeah.
that we use, like Airbnb and Booking.com. They have also policies where we can charge the people for damages, and we take care of it immediately. So with the team in place, it becomes easy to deal with such problems.
Yeah, and good experience with tenant? Like, I don't know, you meet some tenant and you... Oh, no, you just...
Good experience, yes, a lot of good experiences at the beginning, but as the business has grown, it was obviously evident that we had to automate it, and I could not meet every
Yeah, sure.
single
No, of
person.
course.
At the beginning, I loved it though. I loved hanging out with my tenants. I loved making the introduction.
Yeah.
I was going there in person for each and every check-in
And now...
because I only had a couple of apartments.
now you don't have time to meet everybody.
Yes, it's impossible to make the time
Yeah.
now for it.
And there is more trouble with villa or apartment that you are subletting?
There is more maintenance with the bigger properties that have more amenities, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you imagine yourself doing in the same business in 5 years?
That's a good question. As I mentioned earlier, my main goal that I started in real estate and doing business in general is the freedom that it brings. So I want to transition. I started as an agent providing the service, so you've been on the treadmill basically all the time, and then opened the business in vacation rentals, and now I'm buying and selling, and eventually I want to, in the next 5 to 10 years, I want to be owning properties
Nice.
to lease, and that will provide me with more freedom.
So, as Tristan said, you started with minus 2,000 euro, and nowadays you are a successful person. What abilities you need to develop along these years to become who you are?
The best ability that helped me, I would say, is managing stress, because I also notice in the people around me that most people would just lock down or shut down once they are under a stressful situation. I had phone calls at 2 a.m. with guests who were locked outside. I had to go and open for them. I had situations where we have complaints, situations where the property is not ready and the guests are checking in. So it can get really stressful, and if you know how to manage stress, I think that's one of the skills that will help you go forward in any business and in life
Manage
in general.
the stress and stay focused. Straight
And
to
stay
the point.
focused, yes. And then the consistency. If you have those two skills, or if you know you can learn those skills, because you can learn more skills, then you have a very good shot at succeeding in the vacation rental business, subletting, or any other business, really.
And sometime when even if you have the consistency, even if you manage the stress, even if you are working very well, there is thing you can't manage. Like, for example,
That's a good
the
one.
COVID. How did you manage this period? How you think you will manage if something else happened? Like, because this can really fuck up your business if the market
Absolutely.
stop. You have
Absolutely.
nothing to keep your back.
Well, in COVID times, that's a good example, actually. It was a very hard blow, and then other skills come into play. For example, I had to call all my landlords and explain to them that if we don't give me 50%, 30%, depending on the properties that I had,
Yeah.
discount, then I wouldn't be able to continue. And they all liked working with me, and they continue to do so until
So
today.
they understood.
Obviously, now I'm not paying them the rents, the COVID prices,
Yeah, of course.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But yes, I had to do that. I had to speak
So,
to them.
yeah.
I had to convince them that, well, there was not much to do to convince them. The situation was
Yeah, they understood. Obvious.
obvious to everybody. And then also very important is to pivot. Also pivoting in times like this is a very important thing to do. I don't know if it's a skill, but I also moved to doing property investment, for example. So instead of investing my money in apartments, in fact, I had to lose some of them as well for subleasing, for the
Yeah.
vacation renter. I bought a property and I fixed it and I sold it, so I made profit from there.
Okay, nice.
And when COVID happened, the property prices, they went up.
They went up?
Yeah, they went up. Not the rentals, but the prices for property
Okay.
after COVID. Straight after once, when the government started giving free money to people everywhere, inflation happened,
Yeah.
and that was a good move. I would say I was lucky, but at the same time, I did make the decision to pivot and do something else.
So you must be very reactive to flow yourself into what is happening in the world. What do you think that are the differences that happened in your business before COVID, during COVID, and after it?
Well, even from the beginning of the when you start to sublet place to now, it was easier before after COVID happened, whatever. And it's easier now, or it was easier 10 years ago to take a place and sublet it, or
It was definitely easier,
Yeah.
easier before
Yeah.
because there was no competition like we have today.
yeah,
The main thing that has changed, obviously, we have more tourists now coming to Malta, which is great. But the main thing that changed that I can see is that people who are doing it as a side hustle or they're not taking it professionally, then
yeah,
they are losing money now, and it's hard to rent a property. Now people are becoming more professional. It's more business owners and companies who are
who manage.
who are managing those properties. So that's yeah, and it was easier to rent before because there was not so much supply.
And
But
yeah, even for the license, the MTA and all, it wasn't maybe that strict at the beginning.
yeah, I
Or
mean
it
the
was, I
nice
don't know.
it was faster, but
Yeah.
the MTA are shout out to the MTA. They are doing a great job and they are not taking much time to issue a license.
Okay, so yeah, the biggest difference is the competition now you can have between other people who sublet.
Yes, now the competition is higher. Now, if you're not taking it very seriously and being professional, then you will be overtaken by the ones who are.
So you think that is becoming more difficult along the years? So in 5 years, maybe it will be worse.
It's becoming more difficult for amateurs, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And after it depends about what you are going to set up. That's why.
but that's also that also depends on how much you improve and pivot and change, and if you're doing that properly, it's actually easier because there are not so many people who are doing their job properly.
Same for us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice what you said, because we as agents, we have many clients who are interested in doing subletting. And this is the moment that we get the difference between who is a starter and who is a professional as well, right?
Yeah, true. The way when people are coming for subletting and it's people like you, for us it's like a gift because you know what you are doing, and it's way more easier to work with you than with a beginner, because it's still even like, it's like me when I start to be a real estate agent. You are a bit lost and all, and you have to fall on the good agent who are going to give you the good advice. So
And we are talking to owners that trust our job to find good clients for him as well. So
Absolutely. I've seen that when you guys are working with me actually in one of our last deals, and you did a great job by choosing me. You made the right decision. So
we have to convince him to accept you who's going to choose someone else. So yeah, of course it's
and
more
it's less
difficult,
headache
but-
for you as well by
Sure.
choosing somebody with experience.
But for us, we still have a reputation to keep. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's good to
All
work
of
with
us,
good
right.
people.
So, as a professional, what would you say for the people who are starting now? Because somebody needs to start from somewhere. What is your advice for it?
I will use it.
Sure. So my advice is, as I was speaking earlier, that now it's more difficult to manage this business or to grow it if you're not doing it properly. So definitely do it professionally, and have in mind to scale the business. So if you have any friends or family who are willing to invest in your idea, use their money, take their money to take bigger deals, multiple units in one block.
Yeah.
Because if you do one by one, it's gonna take time, and if you don't have much money, it's gonna take you a couple of years just to add up a few properties, because you still need to spend from your profit.
So
Yeah.
for you think the best is to start with a big hit, like something, a big deal, and like that, it will help you to grow and grow.
Definitely, but I would also suggest that just to get your feet wet, start with one deal, maybe manage it yourself to know exactly
What you're
how the
doing.
business
Yeah.
works, and then have in mind that you will scale it by using other people's money, or if
Yeah,
you
sure.
have your own savings. This is very interesting, actually. It's an interesting topic, because most people can actually have a personal loan if they have a job in Malta, and if they're resident in Malta, they can have a personal loan from the bank. I don't know, 30, 50K. And that's quite a good amount of money
To start it,
to start.
30K, it's enough, I think, to
That
start
can-
subletting place. If you
Absolutely, it can replace your salary if you're working somewhere and you don't like it. That can replace your salary immediately by just getting the personal loan. And most people get those loans to buy liabilities and things that drag them down and backwards.
So, doing a sum up about the process of subletting. First, you said that you need to find a nice place with a nice location with a good price.
Absolutely,
What about the legal part?
and a nice owner. Don't
And
forget.
a
And a
nice
nice
owner
owner.
is important too.
So yes, the legal part, very important. Once you sign the contract with the owner, make sure you mention that you can
It's
sublease the
worth on it.
property and apply for insurance and licenses. Once that is done, you will ask the property owner for the approved MEPA plans and approved permits for the property. You take that along with the application from the Malta Tourism Authority that they have online. And you can do it online, or you can visit the MTA office, which is in Smart City, and apply. In a couple of weeks, they would call you for an appointment, and I would say in a month or two maximum, you would have your license issued.
Okay, so yeah, it's fast and easy to get it.
Yes, it's
Nice.
it's simple, straightforward.
So, for us, why did you choose Malta, and what is the difference between Malta and the other countries that you also have business that you mentioned?
Okay, so Malta is mainly because I live here for a long time now, so I already have good connections. I have a very good reputation, and that helps me a lot. And because also it has a strong vacation rental market. Maybe in the winter time it's a little bit slippery,
Yeah,
but
during
again we go
during the
back.
summer, we still have more and more and more people
Exactly,
coming. So
exactly. So it's a very tourist-oriented market. I checked other options in other countries. I go to events around Europe,
Yeah.
trying to find maybe a better place. But Malta was always a good
and at
option.
the end, you always will be come back
Yes,
in Malta.
yes. Mainly because I'm based here and because
Yeah.
of my connections here, but also because we have a strong market in the summertime, strong vacation rental
Yeah.
market. And by time we know better now how to manage the properties in the winter, so we're doing quite well. There is no need to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah. For now.
For now.
For now.
So great, thank you, Feras. Now, after this conversation, I hope that owner will see and understand that there is still people who are doing the job well. Subletting is not only a bad word. We can manage the thing well, and we can also all together win in this situation. So thank you so much, Feras, to be here with us, and it was a real pleasure for us to have you with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity and the exposure. Guys, you can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My name is Feras Toboli. I'll be posting a lot of stuff, very, very good information about flipping properties, subleasing properties in Malta. And see you soon.
And stay tuned in our social medias at The Feras Street on Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube. See you in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye bye.